Imagine spending, I don't know, weeks meticulously color coding a digital calendar, like optimizing every single 15-minute block of your day.
Oh yeah, the classic flawless 5-year career plan.
Exactly. You've got your morning routine completely dialed in, your goals are set, and you are out there actively, manifesting your dream life.
Right.
But what if, in all that brilliant optimized planning, you completely forgot to consult the one architect who actually knows how your story ends?
Man, it is the ultimate modern trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
We are constantly rewarded for having it all figured out.
But so do I.
Society just hands us this narrative that we are the sole authors of our destiny.
Yeah.
Like if you just hustle hard enough and structure your days rigidly enough, you can basically bend the future to your will.
And welcome to today's deep dive, because we are dissecting that exact illusion today. We're going to explore the trap of arrogant decision-making versus what it actually looks like to seek divine guidance.
Which is so relevant right now.
It really is. And we have some incredible sources for this. We're pulling from a really rich transcript of a Bible study led by Bishop Loretta. And we're going to jump into that transcript right around the 8.39 mark, which is where the core lesson really heats up.
Yeah, that section is packed. And we're pairing that with a companion teacher's guide and a slide deck titled The Architect's Blueprint, which explores James chapter 4, verses 13 through 17.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because right off the bat, the central thesis here is honestly a little jarring. The danger isn't that you make plans.
Right.
The danger is making plans that never bother to ask what God has already planned for you.
Which, that requires us to completely dismantle the worldview we're holding when we sit down to make those plans in the first place.
Yeah, we have to look at the mindset.
Exactly. So the passage we're looking at, James 4, it goes right after this mindset.
Yeah.
James is speaking directly to merchants. And in the ancient world, these are the ultimate strategists.
Like the ancient tech bros or supply chain managers.
Spot on. They were plotting out trade routes, calculating margins, managing all the logistics. And James points out that they make these 5 incredibly confident, locked-in declarations about their plans.
Right. They declare when they are going, so today or tomorrow, they declare we're going to this or that specific city. They outline exactly how long they'll be there, which is a full year. They know what the agenda is doing business, and they know why to make a profit. It's just a flawless business model.
Except for the glaring omission,
Yeah.
right? God is nowhere in the equation.
Literally zero mention.
And what's fascinating here is that James isn't condemning commerce. He isn't saying that having a business strategy is inherently a sin.
Right. He's not anti-business.
Not at all. He is exposing an attitude of complete, unchecked autonomy. These merchants are speaking about tomorrow as if it's this tangible asset sitting in their bank account just waiting to be spent.
And wow, we do the exact same thing today. We treat our calendars like they are binding contracts with the universe.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we schedule 12-minute blocks for mindfulness, and then we get absolutely furious if the barista takes too long and ruins our 8:14 a.m. departure time.
Because we hate the alternative. We are terrified of feeling out of control.
Yeah.
So James counters that arrogant certainty with a huge reality check in verse 14. He tells them, you don't even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? And then he uses this incredibly evocative Greek word, atmis.
Atmis. What does that mean exactly?
It basically translates,
Which Bishop Loretta points out in the study is really just a secular way of trying to play God.
yeah, we use these tools as psychological pacifiers to give us a false sense of safety.
But let me push back on that for a second. If life is really just a fragile mist, isn't there a risk of becoming, I don't know, completely nihilistic?
How do you mean?
Well, if I'm just a vapor, why bother saving for retirement? Why schedule a meeting for next Tuesday? Does recognizing our fragility mean we just abandon long-term planning altogether?
That's where people usually get tripped up. But the wisdom tradition in these texts never uses the shortness of life to inspire hopelessness.
Okay.
It uses it to inspire sobriety. It's about grounded realism. Life is uncertain, but God is not. So the issue isn't the act of planning. The issue is planning while totally disconnected from the master architect.
So it's the illusion that our structural perfection, our color-coded spreadsheets can somehow override the reality of our temporary nature. It's like building a skyscraper on a fault line and assuming that, well, because the interior decorating is nice, the building won't collapse when the earth actually moves.
That is a perfect analogy. And the slide deck we're looking at actually uses a very similar construction metaphor to map out the exact anatomy of how this flawed, arrogant planning develops.
Because it doesn't just happen overnight, right?
No, not at all. It's a step-by-step progression where our hearts become divided.
Let's actually walk through that because the visual from the architect's blueprint lays this out brilliantly into 5 steps. It starts right at the bottom. If you're building a life, you have to pour a foundation.
Right.
And in this flawed blueprint, the foundation is selfish desires. It's starting the entire process by stating what we want without ever pausing to ask what the Lord might desire.
The concrete is poured, and God gets zero glory from day one.
Exactly. And then once that foundation sets, you have to put up the framing. And the slides identify the framing as pride. You take those selfish desires and you frame them with the prideful assumption that your own intellect and your own strength are going to make it happen. You literally become the general contractor of your own destiny.
Yeah. Then come the walls, and the notes identify the walls as worldliness, which honestly makes so much sense psychologically.
How so?
Well, if you aren't looking to divine guidance, where else do you look for your building materials? You look around you. You look at what the culture says you should be doing.
Oh, for sure. You measure your success by whatever Forbes or TikTok or your neighbor says you should have achieved by age 30.
Exactly. You enclose yourself in the world's metrics. And finally, you have to cap it all off. Step 4, the roof on this structure is pure self-confidence.
It's that final arrogant statement of, I know I can pull this off tomorrow. I have the resources. I have the plan. I don't need help.
Which leaves you with step 5, the completed structure. A fully autonomous life built completely without God.
And what happens when the storms of life actually hit? When the mist gets blown away by the wind? The blueprint shows the building collapsing under sheer stress. Because a structure built on the premise that we control tomorrow cannot withstand the reality that we don't.
And the tragic part is, the collapse is usually the first time we finally decide to talk to God.
Wow, yeah.
We build this entire autonomous tower, the roof caves in because we had never consulted the architect, and then we sit in the rubble demanding to know why God let this happen to us.
You know, Bishop Loretta posed a fantastic question to her group regarding this exact pivot point. She asked the participants, how do you know when you've moved from God's confidence to self-confidence?
That's a great question.
It is, and one of the participants absolutely nailed it. She said, you know you've shifted when your internal monologue becomes dominated by the words I, me, and my.
Oh, wow. That perfectly mirrors the parable of the rich fool in the Gospel of Luke.
How does that one go again?
Well, look at the language the guy uses in that parable. It is, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. I will tear down my barns. I will say to myself...
He's just drowning in first-person pronouns.
Exactly. There isn't a single mention of a higher power or his community or eternity. It's just pure, suffocating self-reliance.
But, I mean, society practically demands self-confidence, right? If you walk into a corporate job interview or you pitch a startup and you don't project absolute certainty about your abilities, you aren't getting the job.
You're definitely not getting the funding.
Right. So where is the line? When does healthy professional confidence cross over into this toxic arrogance?
Well, self-confidence crosses the line into sin the exact moment it replaces God confidence. James uses a very specific, cutting Greek word to describe this. The word is alazonia.
Alazonia.
Yeah. It's usually translated as pretentious arrogance or empty boasting. But in the ancient world, this wasn't just a general term for being prideful. It was used to describe a very specific type of person in the marketplace, a quack, like a snake oil salesman.
Wait, really? So it's someone selling a cure they don't actually have?
Exactly. It's a traveling con artist who sets up a stall, promises his potion will cure any disease, takes your money, and skips town. James is saying that when you act like you have absolute control over tomorrow, you are acting like a marketplace quack. You are claiming a power you literally do not possess.
That is heavy.
You're selling yourself and everyone around you a certainty about the future that you just do not own.
You're basically peddling fraudulent blueprints.
Yes. It's not just a misjudgment of the facts. It is a fundamental pretension. You are playing a role you were never meant to play.
That reframes the whole concept of a 5-year plan for me. So if autonomous planning makes us snake oil salesmen, what does the master architect's blueprint actually look like? How do we transition from this frantic self-reliance into genuine God confidence?
Well, this is where the teaching from the study really hits its stride.
Yeah.
It introduces a vital distinction that most modern people get completely twisted.
Okay, what is it?
It's the difference between divine permission and divine direction.
Let's unpack that because it's a subtle shift, but it has massive implications.
Yes.
Divine permission is essentially asking God to bless our mess.
Right.
It's when we go through those 5 stages of building, we pour the foundation, frame it up, put on the roof, and then right at the ribbon cutting ceremony, we invite God to come endorse the building.
Right. We hand him a finalized, non-negotiable plan and ask for a rubber stamp.
Yeah.
It's treating God like a notary public. We just need his signature to make our own autonomy feel vaguely spiritual.
Wow. Yeah. So what is divine direction then?
Divine direction is an entirely different posture. It means seeking the architect first. It's adopting the stance of David in the Psalms, constantly praying, "Show me your ways."
So it's the humility to discover the plans that have already been drafted for you rather than inventing your own and demanding funding for them.
Exactly. And the ultimate model for this, which the notes highlight beautifully, is Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Oh, yeah.
He's facing incomprehensible suffering. The human instinct, the survival instinct, is screaming for a different plan. But his prayer isn't, "Here is my exit strategy, Father. Please bless it."
Right. His prayer is, not my will, but yours be done.
He completely submitted to the Father's predetermined blueprint.
Yeah.
And the takeaway there is pretty stark. If the Son of God had to submit his plans to the Father's will, what makes us think our Tuesday afternoon schedule is exempt?
We certainly aren't exempt. And James gives us the practical vocabulary for this shift in verse 15. He writes, instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that.
Right.
But here's the thing. People say God willing all the time. Or the old Latin phrase, Deo volante. You hear it in post-game sports interviews. You hear it at the grocery store.
All the time.
Are we just supposed to tack if the Lord wills onto the end of our sentences like a magic spell? Like, I'm going to max out my credit card on a boat I didn't pray about, God willing.
And that is exactly how it gets abused. It becomes a mindless incantation, or worse, a fatalistic excuse for passivity. Like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
But the Greek verb used there for will is the lige. It implies a conscious, active choice. It's not a passive shoulder shrug from the heavens. It means God is actively willing a specific good into being.
The slide visuals in the teaching deck make this incredibly clear. They show two contrasting images that I think sum this up perfectly. The first is called the magic formula, and it's a giant rubber stamp slamming down the words "be less this" onto a set of blueprints. That's us demanding divine permission.
Yes.
But the second image is called the surrendered worldview, and it's a hand holding a compass on a drafting table.
Which perfectly captures the essence of divine direction. Are you slamming down a stamp, or are you navigating with a compass?
Because the compass implies that the map is already drawn?
Exactly. The true north is already set, and your job is simply to discover the path and align yourself with it.
But, aligning ourselves with that compass creates a completely new tension.
How so?
Let's say you adopt this surrendered worldview. You put down the rubber stamp. What happens when the compass points you towards something that completely ruined your perfectly optimized calendar?
Now we arrive at the climax of James's argument. And honestly, it is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it really is.
Verse 17 completely redefines how we typically think about ethical failure. He says, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them.
We are so conditioned to think of sin purely as commission, right? Doing the bad things, lying, cheating, stealing. If I don't actively do something malicious today, I'm a good person.
Right, I kept my hands to myself.
Exactly. But James is introducing the sin of omission, knowing the right thing to do, having the capacity to do it, and just deliberately opting out.
And the precision of the original language here is staggering. The word translated as good is kalon.
Kalon, okay.
It does not mean some abstract philosophical concept of goodness. It means the specific, visible, honorable, right action that is standing directly in front of you.
Okay, the visible good.
And the word used for sin is hamartia, which literally means to miss the mark. But in this context, you aren't missing the mark because your aim was bad. You're missing the mark because you saw the target, you saw the bow, and you just refused to pick it up.
The Bible study transcript provides some incredibly biting, everyday examples of this. And we aren't talking about failing to end world hunger here.
No, very practical stuff.
Bishop Loretta talks about knowing you should bring a bag of groceries to a neighbor who is struggling, or knowing you should offer someone a ride to church, but you choose not to.
And why do we choose not to?
Usually it's not out of malice, it's because you're tired, because it would inconvenience you, because honestly, it wasn't blocked out on your color-coded calendar.
Yes. It is the ultimate symptom of an autonomous, self-directed life. When your calendar is so densely packed with your own ambitions, your own self-care routines, your networking events, there's physically no room left for God's blueprint.
Another participant in that study brought up a phenomenal point about how this sin of omission destroys modern relationships too.
Oh, that part was so good.
People will jump into an intimate relationship entirely based on fleeting emotion. They don't seek divine guidance, they ignore the red flags, they push past those quiet internal prompts to wait.
They ignore the kalon, that visible good of seeking God's will first.
Exactly. And then, a year later, when their lives are deeply entangled and the relationship is a toxic mess, they start frantically praying for God to fix it.
They bypass divine direction entirely, and now they're begging for a rubber stamp on their chaos.
We see it in relationships, in career moves, financial decisions, everything.
And if we pull back to look at the broader theology here, we have to look at Ephesians 2.2.
What does that one say?
It states that we are God's handiwork, created to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. The good works aren't a side project we have to invent. They are the actual blueprint that was sitting on the drafting table before we were even born.
This is where it gets so convicting for me. We optimize our days like we're playing high-speed Tetris.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
We want every single block to fit perfectly together so we can clear the board. But if every minute is spoken for by our own autonomous planning, we leave absolutely no margin for divine interruptions.
Zero margin.
When God wakes you up at 3 a.m. with a strong burden to pray for someone, or nudges you at the grocery store to check on a friend, you ignore it because it threatens your schedule. We literally use our productivity as an excuse for spiritual omission.
It's tragic, really. The ultimate danger of the arrogant planner isn't just that their metaphorical building might collapse under stress. The real tragedy is what they miss out on while they're building it.
Yeah.
They are so focused on constructing a monument to their own self-reliance that they completely walk past the good works the master architect specifically designed them to fulfill. They miss their actual purpose.
It fundamentally changes how you view a busy week. So where does all of this leave us? The ultimate takeaway here isn't to throw your digital calendar in the trash, right?
Definitely not.
The scripture isn't telling you to stop making wise business decisions or to stop being a good steward of your time and resources.
No, diligence is honored throughout the scriptures. The shift is about posture. The Christian life is meant to be built with open hands.
I love that.
You plan diligently, you work faithfully, but every single line you draw on that blueprint must be drawn in pencil. It has to remain fully submitted to the one who actually holds tomorrow, ready to be erased or rerouted the moment the compass points in a new direction.
In the study, Bishop Loretta challenged the group with a question that I think every single one of us needs to sit with. She asked, when was the last time you planned something purely with God's purpose in mind?
That is a tough question.
With the active thought process that God is going to get the glory out of this when it is finished. Not your bank account growing, not your reputation expanding, but His purpose being fulfilled.
It demands a total rewiring of our brains. We have to stop acting like the marketplace quack selling a fake certainty about tomorrow and start acting like servants waiting for the architect's daily instructions.
It's moving from the illusion of control into the reality of trust.
Precisely.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you look at your schedule for this upcoming week. Think about what a blueprint actually is. It tells a builder exactly what a structure is designed to do. So if we look at your personal calendar, what does it tell us about who you are actually serving? Look at the blocks of time you have so carefully carved out. If a sudden divine interruption in your schedule would cause you anger rather than joy, whose kingdom are you really trying to build?